Hello all, welcome to Demo Hour, August 2022 edition, organized by hrtech.sg and powered by Archili. Archili is incidentally the trusted partner for parsing, matching, and data enrichment for many enterprises globally. So in today's session, we'll be showcasing how we can leverage technology for hiring and engaging non-PMET workforce. But before that, a quick overview of hrtech.sg. We host what is Singapore's largest and curated HR tech marketplace with over 150 providers across 8 HR categories. You can log on to www.hrtech.sg to view the Singapore HR tech market map and the marketplace. Incidentally, the market map is supported by Institute for Human Resource Professionals, SHRM, Singapore Human Resource Institute, and Singapore Poly. We also host what is India's fastest growing marketplace with over 100 providers across the 8 categories. We have actually come a long way from our first in-person demo hour session, which was held in 2019 to evangelize and promote the use of HR technologies. The demo hour series essentially focuses on providing a platform for HR technology providers to showcase their high-tech solutions, thereby aiding the acceleration of adoption of HR tech. Our singular motive is to ensure that the HR ecosystem in Singapore becomes a lot more data-centric and tech-savvy in that approach. And that's why the event motto has been only to showcase demos and not presentations. In fact, after the onset of the pandemic, we have moved to an on-demand webinar format to benefit a wider audience. So some of the topics that we have covered over the past few years include how to improve strategic decision-making with people data, HRMS for the hybrid workforce, showcasing talent planning and talent development tools to help HR teams in their strategy and operations. So why are we having this demo hour session today? Why are we talking about the need for leveraging technology for hiring and engaging the non-PMET workforce? Incidentally, non-PMET is a Singaporean terminology to represent the blue-collar workforce. We all know the enterprises across industry segments have been facing considerable challenges in hiring blue-collar workforce for roles such as laborers, cleaners, security roles, drivers, logistics, and many more. With job vacancies in the blue-collar workforce becoming a cause for concern, this demo hour will showcase how technology solutions can be leveraged to hire and engage the workforce better. Now, some of the key challenges I really want to highlight, right? Number one, inability of enterprises to actually plan the schedule for non-PMET openings. This is because they have always traditionally relied on a just-in-time hiring approach, and that is no more working. So this results in a lot of unfulfilled positions in a tight labor market. Number two, if you look at it, traditionally, this workforce, enterprises never invested in technology and data platforms. And that has actually compounded the problem, as today enterprises are unable to predict their business demand and talent supply in a VUCA environment. Number three, as the world moves to a more gig-centric workplace, actually there are a lot more contractual and on-call jobs that are available. In fact, quite abundantly. But non-PMET workforce give them a pass because they prefer permanent roles, and that is proving to be a big challenge in filling the gap. Finally, lack of gender diversity in the blue-collar workforce is a major concern for large organizations that focus on D&I. Hence, because they are not able to meet this demand of the D&I ratio within the organization, most of the roles remain unfulfilled even after months of being open. So that's why we have scheduled 3 best-in-class providers today who will showcase their demonstrations to help enterprises in hiring and engaging blue-collar talent very, very effectively. And as part of our expert HR panel today, to witness these demos, clarify questions on behalf of the many HR professionals who will be watching this in an on-demand format, extremely delighted to host Min Yong, Senior Consultant HR transformation from Deloitte, and Aishwarya Mohan, HR business partner from the Motherson Group. Thank you very much for joining in. And to present the demos today, we have Andy Schmidt from Beekeeper, Felicia Tan from FastJobs, and Mitchell from GetPaid. So it's really going to be an exciting set of demonstrations today. I'll request Andy to take over from here. Over to you, Andy.
Thank you very much, Sharam, for this introduction. Sharam said, I'm Andy. I'm here, Beekeeper's local representative here in Singapore. Beekeeper is your inclusive communication platform. The app really connects the entire workforce, and not just to the organization, but also to each other. So imagine you are the HR leader, it's a dispersed workforce of, let's say, 1,000 people across 20 locations. So communicating with all of them is a real challenge. So imagine you could reach now every single employee, one of them, every single one of them instantly on mobile, with campaigns, surveys, analyze the data, and see what's going wrong, and then take fast action and really keep everybody updated about this one. Imagine you could all do all of this without sending a single email. So you no longer have to just imagine it, because Beekeeper has created it. So Beekeeper is your single point of contact for your frontline workforce. Beekeeper exists because of one single reason. We believe people should be happy and engaged at work and have all the right tools to perform their jobs at the highest levels. Beekeeper is humane technology that helps you to reach every shift, location, and language through a real-time messaging and targeted communication streams. But let's take a look at how Cecilia experienced the whole thing. So Cecilia is your head waitress in your organization. You have many restaurants across the island, and Cecilia has a Beekeeper on her platform. So she just goes into the app, and what you see over here is quite a lot of things, and I will walk you through all the different features that we have there. But let's start with the core component of Beekeeper, which is the communication part. So we have here streams, and these streams really help to reach everyone in the organization in an instant. So let's jump into this company bus stream. And the first thing you will see, it's a very, very intuitive interface. It's very easy to find your way around, because it looks very close and very similar to what your people are using in their personal lives. So you can comment, like over here. So it's a super easy platform where you don't require any training to get your frontline non-PMET people on board. So the beauty of this one is that you can really get in an instant all your messages across to your people, and you get a feedback loop as well to see whether your people have read the information that you are giving out. Of course, besides the company-wide stream, you can also have streams which are then location-based. So there's one example over here, St. Paul plant updates. So the first thing you see over here, oh, the boss is recognizing one of the employees. So recognition, top-down recognition, but we all know peer-to-peer recognition is a real powerful tool in order to make the people feel valued under your care. We also have work-specific or topic-specific streams on the platform, and this is all configurable by you. So there's here, example, a safety stream. So it's all about workplace health and safety. So when Cecilia goes into this stream, she says, oh, there is a digital form available for me, so I can just fill out the form and order my personal protective equipment that I might need. And the backend of Beekeeper will take care of the workflow so that this kind of requisition is then channeled to the right person in your organization who can then place the order and fulfill the order. But you can also have a bit more complex links on the platform that your people can reach within one click of a button. So down here, you can see some of those shortcuts. So those could be very simple URLs to another application, but it could be also authenticated links. That means people have a single sign-on. They don't need to enter the username and password again. And this enables you to really have an integrated system for the frontliners. Let's say Cecilia needs to inform you about an MC, or she needs to maybe trade some shifts with the colleagues. All this can be done directly in the systems that you might already have, but with a direct access here from Beekeeper itself. So we looked at streams already. Streams are excellent to reach a broader base of people, but what about one-on-one communication? So down here you see this icon chats. So if I click on this one, so this is the chat, group chat, one-on-one chat. So this can literally replace your WhatsApp, but in a corporate context. And you see Cecilia has here received a message from Andy Schmidt, her boss, communicates to her in Chinese, but the problem is Cecilia doesn't speak Mandarin. So she clicks on this message over here and the message gets immediately translated by the platform into the language that her mobile phone is set. So you can see here the original message, and this is now the message translate. So that's super handy when you have a diversified workforce with people from different nationalities. And this works for about 100 languages, not only here in chats, but also in the posts that we have seen earlier on in the streams. Now, but sometimes just reaching people one-on-one or via inter and post in the feed is not enough. Sometimes as HR professional, you might have something super, super important, compliance relevant. You need to get confirmation that the people write something. Here's another chat. This is about the new leave policy. So you want to get the new leave policy out to all the people and you want them to acknowledge and confirm this. So here is Cecilia is being prompted to confirm this one. So it's very wonderful chat interface in order to do interactive communication there as well. But you can go even a little bit further and you can administer your surveys here. So that's much more interactive. So here's an example of an internal comm survey. It's a very simple tool like a chat survey. You communicate with your people. It is multiple choice, but you can also write entire questions here in the chat. So perfect, that's very, very good. Let's look at how this works from the back end. So this is now the back end. So it's a web interface. You can access Beekeeper also via your browser. And what you see over here, you see again those streams that we earlier on saw. We see this post on this PPE form that you can fill out. You have all the chats here. But what I want to show you here is the back end of Beekeeper, the dashboard. I'm an administrator, so I have this additional feature. I click on the dashboard, and what this gives me is a real-time view of what's currently happening on the platform. So this is a super powerful way in order to really close the communication loop with your people. As we have seen the example, we had this new policy guideline. So here is a campaign. So now as administrator, I can click in and I can see in real time, I contacted 4 people. So far, only 1 person opened, which was me just now, as acting as a Cecilia. And here we have 3 people who have not confirmed yet. So with a click of a button, you can then also send some follow-up messages. And you have then, in the end, a complete audit trail of your compliance relevant communication with your people out there. So of course, this gives you a lot of power and a lot of insight in what's happening on your communication side. Another opportunity for you is to really filter out and see what is the engaging content that you have out there. So you can see what is being most read by your people, what is most liked, what is most commented. And you can also see then who are those users who are putting out this engaging content, and you can learn from this content in order to evolve in your internal communication strategy to put more of the stuff on the platform that is engaging with people and maybe do a little bit less of what's not so engaging. So let's shift gears. Who currently is not struggling to fill open positions? That's a real challenge right now. So on Beekeeper, we just got 2 companies who found over 500 high quality candidates through employee referrals. And guess what? These new employees stuck around much longer, saving the organization $250,000 in hiring and onboarding costs. And here's how they did it. So we call it the Beekeeper employee referral journey. So there are 4 parts of it. So first is about informing your people. Then it's about collecting information, tracking the information, and rewarding them. So it all starts by getting the word out to your frontliners. We know that reaching frontline teams can be very tricky, but with Beekeeper, your employees can find all the information they need to start making referrals from their mobile phones. Next, you make it easy for your employees to submit referrals automatically. You can show the open roles in the job stream and on the home screen. And then employees can share job listings with their external network in just 4 clicks via WhatsApp or the other communication tools. Subsequently, you keep track of all the submissions and the hiring process so you can fill those roles and save money. And of course, we're boosting employee satisfaction with rewards. It's easy to follow through and reward employees for successful referrals. Everybody wins. And then you have one simple, stress-free, centralized way to manage and employee referrals for your frontline. But now let's assume the employee referral is concluded. Your new hire comes on board. Now it's all about this tedious part of onboarding the newcomer. With Beekeeper, you can ditch a paper. So it's very easy to give the employees everything they need to successfully onboard them right from their pocket. Let me show how it's done. So we will start with pre-boarding. We will really start on the day the employee signs the contract letter, and then you start by logging on to the platform. The first thing they will see is a welcome message, and the welcome message really showcases then your culture. It provides an overview of the onboarding process and directs the people to the first task as well. On the home screen, the employees will find all the tasks they need to complete, like reading the employee handbook, learning health and safety policies. And these tasks are all automatically assigned throughout the onboarding journey. In task itself, you as manager, you can attach documents. You can then embed some forms as well. And you can even link to external resources that you might have there or in streams or even in your existing learning management system. So when an employee completes a task, the manager can see what's been completed and review any attached work like quizzes or survey results. So even the tasks that require manager's approval are there. So don't worry, we haven't forgotten about the manager as well. Manager also assigned tasks like answering questions about the role and responsibilities, introducing the new hire to the employee tools, reviewing attached work from tasks completed by new hires. Before Beekeeper, you can imagine this would have generated a lot of paperwork for managers, but we got you covered there. So out of the box, our workflows will automatically store and organize any onboarding documents completed by the employee. They are then very safe and easily accessible from the document library. You can also have automated check-ins, which enable you to engage employees really early and provide support when they need it. And after the onboarding is over, you complete the whole thing and request the feedback to understand the sentiment and improve onboarding for future employees. So that's a brief glimpse into the employee-centric communication platform Beekeeper. I hope you enjoyed the opportunity to see how Beekeeper could make a real difference at your workplace. And let's together make the future of frontline work more human-centric. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Andy, for your presentation. May I now request Aishwarya and Mingyong to start the Q&A. Let's start with Aishwarya.
Thanks, Andy, for the wonderful demo. I really like the way that it's easy to use and quite centralized. My two questions are, first of all, how would Beekeeper be beneficial for a small medium enterprise, especially for a small sized entity with less than 10 employees?
Yeah, so that's a very important demographic that we have out there. So as Beekeeper takes a little bit of work and effort to get it set up because it's a real corporate tool, right? So you need even some support on the back end over there. Typically, we roll it out for organizations that have at least 200 employees. So Beekeeper is a very scalable solution. We have 200 employees minimum up to 180,000. But we don't really address the needs of micro SMEs with 10 people.
Okay. Secondly, for an organization that already has a robust, good HRIS that they are using, how can Beekeeper be synced up with that existing system so that employees avoid using two systems at one time?
Very important point, because we all have this issue that there's a certain app fatigue, too many corporate apps on the phone. Sometimes you don't know which app to use for what. So our idea is really to create a one-stop shop for the frontline employee And from there, they can log on once, and then they can branch out to the existing platforms. So we have out-of-the-box integration with these huge HRIS systems, SAP SuccessFactors, Workday, and others, which we use in order to make sure that information can flow between the two things.
Okay, thank you for answering my questions.
You're welcome.
Over to you, Mingyong.
Maybe
Yes.
thanks for the thanks for the presentation. I like the app. Just to check, is Beekeeper only accessed through mobile, or it can be accessed through web as well? Some blue-collar workers don't even have mobile phones, and sometimes if they are, and another dimension is if they are asked to use their mobile phones, they'll be like, I'm consuming data. Does the company give me Wi-Fi to actually use such apps? I mean, these are realistic concerns that I've encountered on the ground. And usually, if the client asks you such questions, how will you address those?
Yeah. So first of all, it's a mobile-first platform. Because we have seen mobile phones are ubiquitous. Even your uncle, your cleaning uncles, they all run around with a mobile phone. So that's our common denominator to get everyone on an inclusive platform. Of course, if it's a personal device, people will say, hey, do I get a phone subsidy? Do I get something in terms of mobile data? First of all, the app is very, very small. It doesn't take up too much space on the phone. Secondly, everything is compressed over there. So the data consumption is less than what people usually consume on WhatsApp. So the question is, does the company want to give a bit of data allowance? I mean, nowadays you have contracts, it's already 10, 20 gigabytes. I think most of the people don't even use that up. But we have even seen clients who said, oh, we have a certain demographic, they don't even have a 4G phone yet. We are giving them one. We are buying in bulk, let's say some low-end smartphones from China, $100, $120 a piece, and we are giving it out to our frontliners because we do value this seamless communication so much that we are willing to invest a bit of money upfront. And if you imagine $100, $120 per person is not really doesn't cost the world. If you compare this to how much money is being lost with the constant churn of employees, I think it's an almost negligible investment.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Andy. Maybe another question would be because I was looking at this like this communication feature about updates of the company, and I believe that most companies they have an intranet, right? I mean, this intranet that shows what are the things that's happening in the company and everything. So to me, I always feel that it's always about using one platform because it's like you have to convince your client to move everything that you are posting on the intranet to the Beekeeper, right? Because if not, all the updates are in different places. Employees might not have a central place to look at all the company updates. And then how will you convince like the marketing team on whoever's managing the intranet, whoever is posting updates to, we are just using Beekeeper, we are not using the existing platforms, because I think the greatest value is to centralize all the information updates into one place.
Exactly.
Those?
And that's what we do by automating content that is being published on the intranet, that it's also creating a post on Beekeeper. So we can make it seamless and make it synchronized so that whatever is being published, let's say for the office folks who are regularly looking at the intranet, is also made available to the people outside in the field who might not even have a corporate email account and can't really access the intranet. And that's a zero effort because we set it up once and then the synchronization happens whenever an update happens on the intranet.
Yeah, okay, because I do understand some companies' intranets, they are built on like legacy platforms and it's hard to do the automation and integration. So I think those are also common concerns. Yeah.
Yeah, but having said that, we are currently working to a client who wants to basically skip the intranet and go straight to Beekeeper because they have 80% frontliners. And I said, this is a much sexier way in order to reach the people than in a traditional intranet format, which hardly anybody accesses because nobody has access to a computer. They only have a mobile.
Okay, thanks, Andy.
Thank you, Mingyong.
Thank you, Andy. I'd now like to invite Felicia from FastJobs for her 12-minute session. Over to you, Felicia.
First of all, we would like to say a very good afternoon and thank you so much to hrtech.sg for inviting us. So for myself, I actually represent Fastco Private Limited, and under Fastco, we have actually got two solutions that you can actually see. So we have got our mascot right there on the left of the presentation deck. So the mascot, the name is Fasty. So the one in blue represents FastJobs, which is our corporate color, and the one in orange represents FastGeek, So these are just two of the solutions that we will actually be sharing with everyone who's watching the presentation right now. And we believe that these two solutions can actually help create equal access to job opportunities for everyone, and hopefully be able to help all of the HR professionals who are watching this presentation right now to be able to hire in the non-PMET workforce moving forward. Yeah, okay, so helping you to actually hire, the first solution that I'll be sharing on, it's Singapore's #1 recruitment app, and we are known as FastJobs. We actually have the most number of downloads, and you'll also be happy to know that we also have the most number of active users who are actually actively using FastJobs to actually look for a job that they best prefer. So job seekers do not just download the app, they actively use it to actually help out with their job hunt as well. So for FastJobs itself, we started off about 8 years back because that's when the founders of FastJobs actually saw that there was a gap in the industry. So as much as there was already, established job boards that were readily available, none of them actually specifically catered to the non-PMETs. So if you realize in this audience that we are actually working on, which is the non-PMET, a lot of them may not even have like a desktop or may not have a laptop, but everybody would own a smartphone. So we actually disrupted Singapore's market with a mobile-first concept where we target at offering just operational as well as frontline roles. So when we did a product launch, the market was actually ready for FastJobs. So many employers came on board quickly because everyone was facing issues with hiring non-PMETs all this while. So today we have about 10,000 active companies that are looking to hire, and the job seekers database grew rapidly to also supply to the demand of our market. So FastJobs topped the charts, and as mentioned, we are currently Singapore's #1 recruitment app. So every day, our platform transacts about 10,000 job applications, and we have about 300,000 sticky job seekers who are actively browsing for jobs monthly. So just running you through how the interface looks like for all of our job seekers. So people who download FastJobs, they will be able to see basically designs like that. And it's complimentary download. We are available on both iOS as well as Android. After they download, they just have to go through a very easy sign-up process. And one of the processes would actually require our job seekers to verify the contact numbers through a one-time password. So this actually helps our employers to get correct and legit phone numbers for our job seekers so that reaching out to them is as easy as breeze. So job ads are being posted for only 1 week. That's our default job advertisement duration. And there is a reason for this. It's because we believe that non-PMET jobs come and go really, really fast. Turnover rate is high, and the vacancies that's required is high as well. So just by posting your job for 1 week, you'll be able to hire somebody that's really fast and quick. So our job seekers, on the other hand, are also able to get very fresh and latest jobs posted by legit companies that have been verified by FastJobs team. So job seekers just have to set up a profile, upload or create a resume with our resume builder if they don't already have one, and they can just apply with just a tap. So there are different modes of application that actually cater to our job seekers, and they just have to tap and apply for the role. We also curate jobs to our job seekers based on their users' behaviors. So based on behaviors, we provide them with jobs that are best to their likings. So to further share, we actually have a good supply to the demand of job seekers from employers. So because of that, FastJobs is actually an effective solution with very fast response and also good application rates. FastJobs has been built and will continue to be built based on what employers need and want. So a lot of the features that you are seeing here on our platform are actually functions and also features requested by our employers along the years, bring them as much convenience through tech as possible. So for example, the resume builder that I've just shared earlier on, adding on, we have also got live messaging function, we have got AI chatbot, we also have interview schedulers that actually sync with your calendar, so on and so forth, definitely catering to the needs and bring convenience to all of our HR professionals when it comes to hiring the non-PMET workforce here in Singapore. So we are happy to offer a trial, and it's complimentary to companies who are actually keen to explore FastJobs a little bit more. And we are definitely confident that FastJobs is able to help you hire fast in the non-PMET workforce as well. So just feel free to contact us if you do happen to require FastJobs. So that was the very first solution we have shared. and that's FastJobs, which is very commonly known. So at the same time, I would like to also share a little bit more about FastGeek, which was already introduced in hrtech.sg previously as well. So what FastGeek is about is that we actually identified the coming market trend back then, which is gig economy. So back in 2019, we started conceptualizing FastGeek, and then there came COVID-19, which actually brought impact on lifestyles globally. So when we speak with job seekers, we realize that a lot of them are actually looking for work-life balance after COVID or even during COVID, because they no longer want to commit to a long-term role. The other extreme that we have actually been hearing is that a lot of the giggers, for short, these are actually our casual laborers, we call them giggers, they no longer are able to rely on just a single source of income, and therefore they are more willing to take on extra roles. So regardless of which site this gigger might be on, FastGeek actually rode on the wave, and we managed to level up amidst the crisis. So what exactly is FastGeek? I've already shared a little bit. It's touching on to the gig economy here in Singapore. And basically, we are actually a flexible workforce platform to match qualified casual workers to employers. So these casual workers, as mentioned earlier on, we call them giggers. So the very main difference between FastJobs and FastGeek, HR professionals might ask, is that for FastJobs, we actually cater the regular manpower, both whether it's full-time, part-time, or we have other types of jobs like contract jobs, permanent part-time jobs. But basically, FastJobs, you will actually start with job posting, and then you go through the whole cycle of being able to hire. Whereas for FastGeek itself, we're actually non-conventional. It's a full suite hiring system to actually get you an additional pair of hands to help with the easy to learn jobs. So it's a lot about a last minute workforce for employers. So for FastJobs, if it's ability, for FastGeek, then it would be availability. So it's always ability versus availability. And I'll be touching a little bit more about how FastGeek can actually help. So FastGeek itself, we actually provide job trials to our clients. And it's also a job trial opportunity to all of our giggers who are actually looking to try out new roles which they are not confident of. So they may not have tried your position before, they do not know if they are actually fit for the role, but that's where they can actually, try out the job and see if it's something that suits them. So these are just some common problems that we hear from HR professionals when we speak to them daily. So also problems that we see in a recruitment cycle that everybody has been trying so hard to overcome. And we just want to provide you with solutions. And FastGeek is able to help because we already have a pool of active giggers who are browsing for new casual jobs to fit into their schedules at any moment. And based on availability of this group of giggers, we can actually help to fill up your last minute workforce. Once again, it's not your conventional kind of hiring method, but it's definitely effective in getting you extra pairs of hands. So giggers are also using this job opportunity to try out jobs that they have never tried or jobs that they have always wanted to try. So who are our giggers, you might ask? Giggers are actually these three groups of people that we have identified, because in Singapore, we have about 40% to be non-PMETs in our workforce. It's hard to expand, we all know, yet they don't actually include these three groups of people that we have identified, which makes up about 5 to 10% of Singapore's population. So it's meant for people who don't want or are unable to hold a full-time role, yet they are willing to work ad hoc, say, for example, a certain number of hours in a day, a certain number of days in a week. So students make up the biggest group. And we also have got stay-home moms, and last but not least, the matured workers. So tapping on the FastJobs existing database while expanding our pool of active job seekers, FastGeek is really flexible. You can come back to us and let us know if you'd like to increase man hours or if you'd like to decrease based on the demand of your business with minimum notice given to us. It is hassle-free and it's fully managed, which includes rostering, onboarding, deploying, attendance, payroll management system. We also have a system to actually shortlist and qualify giggers who are going to work for you based on your criteria. So we'll literally take over your hiring cycle to help you settle your A to Z hiring hassles. So how does it work? Firstly, we will actually have to understand your exact needs, from job requirements to preferred candidate's profile, so on and so forth. Thereafter, we do a job post on FastGeek and we start broadcasting the job for you. There is also an automated shortlisting and scheduling of quality giggers system in place. And thereafter, FastGig pays first. And from there, we will then provide you with an invoice for payment. So you do not actually have to worry about shortage of manpower, payroll, or even your cash flow management with FastGig in place. So this is how the giggers can actually make use of FastGig, which is already a mobile app that is once again downloadable on App Store or Play Store. So job seekers can actually get a seamless experience with us while applying for gigs and getting paid on a weekly basis. So they can actually browse through the variety of job openings and apply with just a few taps. So giggers will be onboarded timely in order to prepare for the upcoming gigs. They can also earn bonuses by taking part in quests and help improve stickiness and encouraging recurring bookings from giggers, by taking part in all of these quests that we set up for them. So they are also able to view their work as well as payout history. So making use of technology to power the future of work is what FastGig aims to do as well. We hope to be able to reach out to a readily available pool of on-demand workforce, and automation is definitely the way to go. Fast, convenient, and instantaneous. So employers will also be able to get data from us, insights such as industry salary benchmarking, hiring optimization suggestions, so on and so forth. So everything that the employer or gigger has to know is already made available online through the FastGig platform or the FastGig app itself. So that's all we have for this session. And if you'd like to find out a little bit more about FastJobs and FastGig, we'll be more than happy to hear from you. And we believe that with these two solutions in place, there will definitely be something for you, and we will love to help you hire in the non-PMET workforce here in Singapore. Thank you.
Thank you, Felicia. We'll move to the Q&A. Over to you, Aishwarya.
Thanks, Felicia, for this wonderful demo.
Thank you.
Yes, I would very much like to know that while I understand that FastJobs caters primarily to non-PMET's workforce, what I want to know is that how does your features differentiate FastJobs from the other job boards that we have available?
We are actually very different. We have been studying the behavior of all of these non-PMET people that we are working on or working with. So what happens is that firstly, I think these people, they have got a lot of different behaviors and habits from the PMETs. So some of the features that I've mentioned would be like, for example, an instant chat function. So say, for example, if you try calling up the candidate, or if you try arranging for an interview, which is common, right, for PMETs, and you don't manage to reach out to them, you can actually make use of our AI chatbot to save you some time. You can also make use of our live messaging function. So things like that. And at the same time, as mentioned earlier on during my presentation, it is common for PMETs to own a resume, a very beautiful one, in fact. Whereas for non-PMETs, it's not as common. So we actually came up with functions like, for example, our resume creator, where they can actually build a resume, just by typing in some experience, just by typing in some details about them, and we can actually help to churn out a nice resume and have it attached to their profile for our employers.
Okay.
So,
And in what languages is FastJobs available?
Currently, we have got 2 languages. It's English and also Chinese, namely.
Okay.
So yeah, job seekers can actually toggle between these 2 languages depending on the preference, and also depending on the system, the operating system, which is already on their mobile phones. When the app is being downloaded, say if I'm on a Chinese operating system, then the app appears in Chinese automatically.
Okay. Thank you for answering my question.
Thank you.
Thanks, Felicia, for the presentation. I just thought of, I was looking at the screen. I'm not sure whether this is a common challenge that you all face, because I understand that for the gigs, right, usually the companies will publish the post, and usually they will publish the rates. Like, okay, let's say $7 per hour or $8 per hour. Then would that create a situation where the companies, they are not able to offer gigs at a much higher rate? We usually get lesser applications compared to those that is always on top, and then those companies will have a lot of applications, and then how will you use your platform to actually solve this kind of concern? I'm not sure if it's a common concern, but from a user perspective, I would definitely go for the higher paying rates compared to those at the bottom where, yeah, so how will you address that?
Oh, Ming Yong, you are very, very spot on actually. So this is definitely an issue that we face, and these are also advices that we provide our employers with. Salary is definitely the main and also the most important factor that affects the decision of our job seekers whenever they want to apply for a role or even apply for a gig job. So what happens is that if a particular employer is not able to, compete in terms of salary, say there's definitely someone who's always going to pay higher than you, then we can actually look into, streamlining other things. Say, for example, the job scope. So say if you are paying $12, but I'm only paying 10, perhaps I can actually cut down a little bit of my job scope to make it even more digestible for our job seekers to accept. Or I can even look into, providing like other flexibility in other aspects. Say, for example, more work locations that's nearer to my house. That's one. Or alternatively, I can even cut down on the working hours. So we can play around with it and to see if we could actually help all of this not as high-paying jobs find appropriate workers as well.
Yeah, because I read recently that I think in the F&B, maybe F&B industry is one of the common industry, because I read in Singapore there's also high competition for like big, like those workers, right? Every restaurant will be offering like $11, $12 and stuff. Then it's like a vicious cycle. So,
so restaurants, so F&B players are already offering up to about $15 for weekends, or even like Eve and on public holidays. So yeah, it's a never-ending competition, but we are also hearing that players are already starting to tweak when it comes to hiring. So for example, like we've been hearing about how they allow a 4-day work week, which is something that has never happened for the F&B industry before. Yeah, but people are willing to accept because then perhaps I get better work-life balance. Right.
Maybe last quick question. I think partly related to Singapore as well. I think Singapore is quite strict on PDA, and I think they'll put a lot of candidate data, like personal data, like NRIC, emails, resumes, and stuff. And I know Singapore passes law on privacy and stuff. So how, you all manage so much personal data of employees, right? So how do you make the system secure, like policies that y'all do to actually? These are also common concerns that candidates might face about their data and everything.
So first of all, we request for as minimal data as possible. So like you mentioned, NRIC, that's not something that we request for. It's really sensitive. So we only ask for details like name, contact number, and email address. Yeah, so details that are sufficient for actually a connection between employers and also job seekers. But we do actually have like data protection officers who are trained in our team as well. Yeah, to make sure that data are all secure. Yeah, in fact, we do have a lot of employers who are, very concerned in this aspect as well. So we do sign, a lot of like NDAs, a lot of other forms of agreements with all of our employers as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we are definitely audited for this aspect too. Thank you, Ming-Yong.
Thanks, Felicia.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Felicia, for your presentation. I'd like to invite Michelle from GetPaid. Over to you, Michelle.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Mitchell. I am CEO of GetPaid, and I would just want to give a warm thank you to everyone here for the invitation. Yeah, let me just share my screen and we can get the ball rolling. Cool. So we are GetPaid, and today we want to introduce you to our product, and we also want to hopefully help you understand what we do. We want to increase financial well-being in the workplace, and we want to partner with employers to do so with something called earned wage access. So very simply, GetPaid is driven to be the leading workplace financial well-being platform in Southeast Asia, and we want to do so by helping you help your staff by giving them an employee benefit that unlocks cash flow. I think as business owners or people in business, we understand the importance of cash flow, and that is the blood of every business. But it's also the same for employees, for staff. If we do not have cash flow, we do not have money, in the bank, then we cannot live, right? We can't pay for bills. We can't have pay for minimal things like bills and overheads. So we at GetPaid want to help them unlock cash flow by giving them flexibility to meet unexpected and sudden expenses. So what's earned wage access? It's very simply providing staff access to wages that they've earned but not yet received. So just want to clarify that this is not a loan. We actually do not collect when we disperse money out to employees, we do not collect the money back directly from the employee. This is an employee benefit. Hence, we partner with companies and we collect the money back from the employers instead. So because it's not a loan, no interest or late fees, nothing like that. How we monetize as a business is we charge a one-time flat transaction fee based on the amount that's requested. Number two, on demand, right? Whenever they request a fund, they go into our app and they can see two things. Later on, you will see that they will see how many days they worked in that pay cycle and how much is available. Once they make a request on our app, we will process it instantly and it gets sent directly to the staff. And that's how we do things on demand. Lastly, like I mentioned, we're all about financial well-being. EWA increases financial well-being in the workplace by meeting your staff financial needs and also reducing financial stress. I think at this juncture, it's very good to inform that about 30% of the Singapore workforce do not have credit facilities from banks. So where do they go if they need money that they do not have? I think if you look at the marketplace, you would go to a money lender, for example. You would get an advance from the employer, or you would try and borrow from friends and family. And the symptoms that we see in Singapore, number one, increased requests for advances from employees to employers, particularly in a post-COVID situation where financial well-being was probably at its lowest for a very long time. There was a lot of requests going to employers for advances. Or increase borrowing from money lenders, whether licensed or unlicensed. And thirdly, perhaps maybe borrowing from between co-workers. And these are the symptoms that we see in the workplace for low financial well-being in the workplace. And that's something that we want to address. So earned wage access, can very solve all these things by number one, simply unlocking cash flow. Don't just avoid unnecessary borrowing when actually you can have access to your earned wages. So we did a survey with our users, and 77% of our users say that using GetPaid actually reduces the need to borrow elsewhere. I think this is important because sometimes our users just need a really small amount, $50, $100, and that doesn't justify needing to borrow from the marketplace when you can simply just use what you've already earned. Secondly, mental health. 95% of our users say that they feel less stressed after using GetPaid. This is exactly what we want to do. We acknowledge that not all our users will use us every month, but even if they don't use us, they still feel less stressed because we act as a safety net for them in the future if they feel that they are going to need something like this. Lastly, engagement. All our users say, 61% of our users say that we are actually helping them in times of financial need, which is amazing. So one of our crowning testimonies, I suppose, would be that our user's father left over a huge debt. She was unable to make repayments in time. As you and I, as everyone here knows, if you do not make repayment in time, you get hit with a late fee. At the same time, her employer didn't provide advances, which is quite commonplace these days. So all she did was use GetPaid to align her pay with her repayments and therefore escape a hefty late fee. And we're actually helping her get out of debt faster. So moving on to the employer, what's in it for the employer? Financial well-being in the workplace really helps our clients, who is the employer, reduce turnover costs by maximizing retention and productivity with earned wage access. Number two, we can help HR minimize time spent on, number one, advance requests, if there is in that workplace, or other financial related issues, like I mentioned, coworker born from coworker and arising an issue, and HR needs to step in to deal with that. So we can help HR minimize time spent on those sort of things. Lastly, we want to help them be a progressive employer in their industry by offering what their competitors are not. And of course, the most importantly, we do not charge employers a single cent. We are cost-free. So here's how it works. Like I mentioned, we are B2B to C product. So number one, we will need the buy-in from the company. They will need to sign up. And then after they've signed up, their employees can draw down their earned wages on demand through our app. And then thereby, once we receive a request, we will disperse directly to the employee directly. And then we will only then bill the company at the end of the pay cycle. So an example of this happening would be Peter earns $2,000 per month. He really needs $100 for medical bill. He will check his GetPaid app and he'll realize he's got enough to draw from it. So he'll go on the app, he will draw down the $100 from the app. It will come to GetPaid. We will then receive and disperse the $100 directly into Peter's bank account, minus the transaction fee. We won't bother the company until at the end of the pay cycle, where we'll send a consolidated report of all the transactions that have been made during the course of that pay cycle. This will start what we call a buffer period. During this buffer period, no transactions are allowed to be made, so that company can reconcile what needs to be reconciled for the employees. If Peter, in this instance, Peter earned $2,000, he took down $100. Therefore, of course, he needs to be reimbursed $1,009, and all they need to do is to remit to GetPaid the $100 that we paid down on their behalf. And this is how we close the loop for one pay cycle. So just want to, if you want to find out more about this space, we created a handbook together with HRTech, and it's comprehensive book on what we operate or we provide, but also in the entire space globally, what EWA is or what English Access is. So reach out to them or me, and we're very happy to provide you a copy. So I'll jump right into a demo. This is the employer dashboard for the company side. It's really simple to use. Once you provide access, what you'll see is in the landing page, very key data, but simple data of how many employees have signed up with us. Later on, you will see that employees are also required to sign up with us, even after companies sign up with us. So you'll see the number of connected people there. You will see how many requests have been made for that pay cycle. You will see the amount of money that has been dispersed for that pay cycle and the average over the last few months. But most of the magic happens on the People tab. You will see here that when you on board with us, no matter your size, whether you are 10,000 employees or 10 employees, we will onboard your employees for you via a bulk upload. And the first instance, when you sign on, you will see all your employees here. And these are the data sets that we require, which are not exactly very confidential. You've got email, name, mobile number, a internal reference, how much they've earned in terms of wage, and that's pretty much it. Very quickly, you can also add people in as people come and go, and same data sets here, and you just click next and they've added in. You can edit them. If there's a pay increase or pay decrease. You can also deactivate them if they are on unpaid leave, for example, and of course you can delete them entirely off the platform. The next tab is the transactions tab, and you can see all the transactions have been made, by whom and what time and how much, and this provides obviously very important data for HR and for payroll. Cool. And then very quickly for the app on the employee side, once the employer has signed on, the employees will then be provided details to sign on as well. And we leave the very sensitive information for this part of the onboarding. For example, like bank account details, they'll be required to provide us that information directly. We won't get that from the employers, but rather from the employee. And this is how we get through PDPA. But once they're in, again, they'll be able to see two things, you know, how many days they work for that pay cycle, how much is available. And if they want to make a withdrawal, they can do so on this page and say they want $500. We will break down for them what is the fee and what is the net amount that we will send to them. And once they click confirm, and that's it, it will come to us and we'll fulfill the request, like mentioned in the previous slide. And that's pretty much it. Thank you so much. We want to help you be your workplace be financially well. So thank you so much for that time. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Over to you, Aishwarya.
Yes, thank you, Michelle, for that wonderful demo. It's definitely very interesting to see. What I would like to do is that how do you calculate the maximum amount that an employee can request for? Is there some kind of a benchmark that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So the most that we go to is 100% of their earned wages. And so the information, like I mentioned, when we collect from the company needs to let us know how much they earn, what is their wage like. And then on our side, we will go to a maximum of 100%. But Singapore is different. We'll go to 80%, just that's to account for CPF.
So do the employees get any notification when they're about to reach that, limit?
Yes. So for example, if on the app, they'll see they've got $100 there, they can actually draw down that $100 if they would like. If the next day they go in, they won't see $100 there anymore. It will be a deducted amount.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because these involves, the app involves money transactions. I also want to know, how do you secure the data? Bank details and other sensitive information, how is that protected?
Yep. So all the, like FastJobs was mentioning, we do have data protection officers. So, and we have a very strict regulations internally to make sure that there's no data leakage. And also the information that we do collect from both sides are not compliant with PDPA. We don't ask for things like NRIC. This is not something that we actually even need. The most secure, the most, I guess, sensitive information will be bank details. So that's something that we audit and we make sure that there are no leakages.
Okay, thank you. Over to you, Mingyong.
Okay, thanks, Felicia, for the presentation. I mean, I actually thought of something. So am I right to say earned wages is prorated based on how much time has they worked on the job? Like, let's say my salary is 2,000, my earned wage after 1 week is 400. Correct? What will happen if the employees have overtime? So for example, if I work overtime, and how do you account for overtime hours? Because overtime hours need to be verified by the employer. So how does the information sync real time, so such that, or let's say the employer has worked overtime today and I want the earned wage today, right? But you need a verification time period and those kind of things. So how does the platform address those?
Yeah, great question. One of our biggest pain points. So the answer to that is that we will integrate with a payroll or scheduling software that the company already has. And that's probably the only way that we can get real-time information on what is worked.
I mean, there are some companies that still use paper timesheet. So, and in those cases, is there any way to do that?
Myung, so many. By the way, we are in Singapore, but we're also in Indonesia. So this is something that's commonplace. So we, at the end of the day, we take direction from the company. And you'll be surprised that a lot of them actually do calculate wages on a daily or weekly basis. So it's just a matter of really providing the information to us as they calculate it in-house. And if and only when we receive the information, then we're able to dispense it.
Okay. Then maybe That's the last question. Like, which industries in Singapore do you see a greater uptake in these kind of services?
Yeah, great question. The bulk of our clients within the manufacturing space, F&B, retail, logistics. These are the bulk of our clients, but we definitely want to expand our reach to non-financial services such as hospitality. These are definitely industries that we're really be keen on.
Okay, thanks, Mitchell. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Michelle. Wrapping up, thank you everybody for joining in for today's demo or session. I'd like to thank everybody who took time and joined the session. Special thanks to Mingyong and Aishwarya for your time and effort. We'll also like to thank Beekeeper, FastJobs, and GetPaid for your presentations. Thank you, Archili and Paramdeep Singh, for your continuous support and for partnering us throughout. Thank you.